Slowly kisses busting by the river.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
A while ago, I went with Random Neighborhood Kid, who's our IT department here, and we went to make a purchase. And I actually talked about it a little bit when we were on the Auction Professor show, how I didn't overpay. I paid fair, but I paid probably more than the gentleman wanted. And the reason why I did so was because he cleans out houses, all that sort of thing, comes across stuff from time to time, and I want to be the first person that he contacts. And actually, you and I were talking before the show. You did a similar thing with some boxes.
Yes. Yep.
Well, that's fascinating. Now I'm opening it up for you to talk about the boxes real quick.
Sorry about that. I thought you were going to ramble on again. But anywho.
Nah, after you.
Are you referring to the sports cards?
Yeah.
Coming up Tuesday?
No.
Okay, which ones are we talking about? A lot of deals going on.
That is true. I'm talking about the boxes that you don't necessarily always want to buy, but you buy all of them no matter what.
Oh, yes. So, yes, thank you for...
I see that light bulb just went on.
Thank you. So, we have all spoken about the sports card craze nowadays, the boxes of cards that are at these local retail shops, Walmart, Target, and so forth, and people are camping out in line, being the first ones there, clearing the shelvings out, Pokemon, football, basketball, whatever. I believe they're changing the rules now where you can get one of each item. Oh. You can buy whatever you want. So you can get in there, say there's 4 or 5 guys in line at 7 in the morning, and there's 5 of one product. Each guy can get one.
Oh, okay.
But then there's other products. So, you still can do
okay.
decent.
Right? Okay, yeah.
And then there's the guys that, have a spare change of clothes in the car, and they'll change their clothes and their mask and their hat, and they come back in and get 5 more boxes of other product. But anyways, it's a hot market, and we get these guys coming in all the time, and there might be some things I don't want to buy.
I was going to say some things are hotter than others.
Yeah, usually the newest basketball's hotter, the newest football's hot, and anything Pokemon's hot. But sometimes you'll get baseball, blaster, or hobby, some things that aren't as appealing, or they're not worth much more than what they paid, and they want to make some money.
They want retail more or less,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I might break even on a few things, but I buy everything just because I don't mind breaking even. I'm not losing money on 2 or 3 products, but I'm buying everything from them, which they like the one-stop shopping. They don't have to drive here or there for a baseball guy or a football guy here, and I'm going to take it all or nothing, pretty much.
Right, and then we had talked before the show as well. The other advantage of that is, say you turn down 3 items.
Right.
Then they take those 3 items and they find somebody else, but in the meantime, they stop off at another store on their way out there,
right,
and they pick up some good stuff, and they bring those 3 items into your competitor.
Yeah.
And your competitor goes, I'm not really sure you got anything else. Well, I did just pick up,
right,
and they end up picking up some stuff. So
sure,
if you do have somebody who sells to you, do everything you can to keep them selling to you exclusively. Buy from them, sometimes even if it isn't the best of deals, just to keep them in the loop. Now, if 8-10 deals in a row aren't good, well, at that point you've got to reevaluate. Right. But as long as that, as long as they're continuing to bring you decent stuff, sometimes you take the good with the bad.
Sure.
You take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the reason why I bring that up is because I was talking with Random Neighborhood Kid afterwards, and this person, the picker that I purchased from, ran into some hard times back a few years ago, moved back to Rochester, and at this point he owns a house. I believe he may have a rental. He's talking about buying a different house and so on. And he hustles. You and I put in long days, and he makes us look like we're lazy.
Yeah.
He hustles. He will pick things up on the side of the road. He will sell things in Facebook Marketplace. He'll buy things Facebook, buy things Craigslist, go out to sales, do cleanouts, do this, do that.
He scraps too, right?
He scraps. He does everything under the sun in order to make a couple of dollars. And he was showing me some of the things that he's just found on the side of the road. And they're not things that I deal in, and he's just kind of hanging on to them because they're pretty cool, but like old radios, things like that. And just really neat stuff that he's found on the side of the road. And I was really, really happy to have done the deal with him and brought Random Neighborhood Kid with me, because afterwards I said to the random kid, I said, it's really hard to starve in America if you are willing to work. This gentleman had nothing whatsoever, and now he's looking to buy a nice house because he's hustled. And there are so many deals out there. And when you get down to it, all you really need, I mean, nowadays we're old people. We do the laptop with the internet connection, et cetera, et cetera. But when you get down to it, you can just list off the phone. Literally, everybody has a phone. Everybody has a phone that's connected to the internet one way or the other, or just about everybody does. You know, my mother probably couldn't list, but beyond that, everybody could list. You just need a little bit of seed money, and even that you don't need to do so. I know Primetime was did a video about some site that'll tell you about free stuff that comes up on various sites, so you can run out and get it. You can pick stuff off the curb. You can go to sales on the last day, garage sales. You spend a couple of dollars. Sometimes they'll even just push stuff at you. Just get it out. Just take it. I don't want it. Just take it. Just take it. So your cost of buying things can be very, very low, even free, because you can sell stuff you find on the curb.
Yeah.
All you literally need, if you have a cell phone, a little bit of room, and we'll say $100, because you do need to buy some packing materials. You do have to have tape. You can, you have to have a way to send the stuff out. I don't even think you need a printer anymore to print labels anymore. I think there's a way to do it with QR codes and stuff, which that's all beyond me. But I think there's a way to do that as well.
If there's any way for me to save on printing 400 orders a day, let me know, because it takes me way too long right now.
So, and you need some transportation. I mean, because obviously the odds that your neighbor is going to be throwing out all kinds of free stuff every single day is kind of low. So you do need a little bit. You need some basics. But if you've got those basics, you can't lose. You cannot lose in this game. eBay's got the free listings nowadays. You put stuff up. You can learn stuff. There are magazines out there just to take something or other we know that nobody wants to deal in. I am fairly certain that if you were willing to deal in National Geographic, you probably could make decent side money. I don't know if you can make a living or not, but decent side money on National Geographics, because they're a dime a dozen, and you could take them and you could list them all. Now, it may take time, and it's going to take work, and you need some place or other to store them, but you can make money just doing that. And again, this gentleman that we both know is testament to that. He has hustled, and he has done well for himself. We've hustled, and we've done well enough for ourselves, and so on. The reason why I bring this up is I promised you before the show I was going to tell you about a deal that I heard about.
Okay.
And somehow or other, I think you're going to be talking with me after the show about this deal. But this is just an example of a deal that I heard about. Now, I've not followed up on it at all. I can contact the person that mentioned it. I was at a location, and I overheard somebody talking that I know, and they had mentioned that they had 1 million postcards.
Wow.
And that if anybody were interested in 1 million postcards, they would deliver them to you, and it would cost you $40,000. Now, I don't know how good you are at doing math.
Is it 4 cents?
That's 4 cents a postcard. Now, I don't know what they are. I've never seen them. I don't know. But assuming they're not all 1 million of the same postcard of the Statue of Liberty, and even there, you probably could make money, because all you would do is you would take them, go to New York City, and go around to all the tourist shops and say, hey, you sell these things for $1.50 a piece.
Right.
Give me a quarter a piece for 100 of them, and you'd sell them all off that way. But
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Were these from a collector or a business that resold postcards?
A dealer. From a dealer.
From a dealer. Okay, so, but did he obtain them from a collection, or?
I've not gone too deep into it. I'm thinking more this dealer is a little bit older.
He sold postcards, but he probably collected them and then built up a massive collection of them.
I think he's like anybody else. It would be like if you were trying to exit the business and you were selling the magazines, that kind of deal.
Gotcha.
So did he pull the best of the best? Probably. He probably has his own collection. He pulled the best of the best.
Yeah.
That being said, I am certain they're not all common. I'm sure there's a lot of commons in there, but I'm certain they're not all common. And if there truly are 1 million postcards, it's unlikely that every one of those 1 million postcards has been searched. Unlikely. I mean, what do? We all grab we pick up a box of magazines, a box of this, a box of that. We go through them. Oh, that one looks cool. That one looks through. These all look like the same thing. You throw them in a box. And over time, you throw and the box gets filled. yes, you did it once over and you grabbed the top 10 postcards or the top 10 magazines or the top
Right.
10 comics out of there, but you're not actually going through them and sorting them out and going, oh, Duluth, Minnesota, and so on. Now, that would be even better if they were all sorted that way, because then you could start going to postcard shows.
Now, any idea like how much room these take up in the boxes they're in and so forth?
I was starting to run numbers on that because my mind starts going on that.
Yeah, what's like a banker box chock full of
Oh, jeez.
postcards?
I
Thousands, right?
It got to be,
Yeah,
because I think a
thousands.
postcard box holds 800, 600, 800. I'm not too much into postcards, but they do sell postcard
So
boxes.
maybe
yeah.
100 bankers might be a million, whatever. Who knows? 100
like
to
that.
200.
It's
bankers.
storable.
Yeah.
It is storable. But as soon as I heard about this deal, the numbers start running in my head that let us say that you sold them for $5 a piece, which some are going to go for a lot more. I'm not great at math.
Yeah.
Being an auditor, I don't know how to do math. But what 1 million times 5 equals, carry the zero, $5 million. You're talking, and that's at $5 a piece.
Right.
That's assuming there's nothing better than that. Then I started running some numbers in my head as to how long it would take you to list this. If you listed 100 postcards a day, which is definitely doable, 100 postcards a day, you're talking a 27-year job. That's assuming no dupes, et cetera, et cetera. You're talking a 27-year job. So I talked with a random neighborhood kid, and I said, I wish you were a couple of years older and off on your own, because I would front the money for this, and you could pay me back, and, 7 years from now, I'd make a little bit of interest off you.
Yeah.
You would own the cards free and clear in 7 years, hopefully listing enough that you're paying me out of
Right.
the proceeds, and you'd have 900,000 cards free and clear that you would be able to list. It's just a tremendous opportunity, and not that $40,000 is chicken feed by any means whatsoever. That is an investment.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You're a wonderful cook.
I wish. Okay.
You decide you want to open up a restaurant. Mm-hmm. How much money are you investing in a restaurant between tables,
A lot more than
equipment, the rent, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
You put $40,000 out, and these people may be flexible on their price.
Right.
They may be willing to take payments. I mean, I have not pursued it beyond overhearing that. And the person they were talking to didn't seem to be interested.
Okay.
So the deal is probably out there. But you pick up $40,000, which, again, is a chunk of change. I'm not going to say it's not. You can't lose. It is absolutely impossible, barring fire or getting kicked
as
off
long
eBay.
as your goal is to, I'm going to force myself to start listing these right off Jump Street. Now, because for me, I would stick them in the corner, and we'd be talking about this 5 years from now that, they're still in the corner. So there's always something for me that comes along that's easier, better, or more my niche than postcards, but that's right up your alley.
But here's my question for you.
Okay?
I know you were going to be hiring a card lister.
Yes.
What if you hired a postcard lister? And currently, what's the big news on eBay that's really helped the sports card market?
Mailing of the sports cards in the envelopes for 51 cents.
Rumors are that this is going to be going into other areas as well with small things. If that suddenly went into postcards, and eBay just recently gave even more free listings to people through the managed payments, you literally could, I believe I could have something like 25 or 30. And I moved down from an anchor store because it wound up being in my favor to move down.
Yeah.
And at this point, I believe I can have 35,000 items listed on my store for, I don't know what I'm paying, $49.95 a month or something other like that. 35,000. Now, granted, I've already got 15,000. But imagine if I just sat there and just listed postcards every single day. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot lose money, barring them all being damaged, which they're not, barring them all being the same card, which they're not, assuming it's any kind of a mix whatsoever.
And they're not all from the last 10 years or,
Even there, you probably
think
could
so?
make money.
Yeah.
Even
All
there,
right.
you probably could make money because it's just you're paying 4 cents a piece. I mean,
right.
just almost impossible to
Now,
lose money at that price.
Let's jump ahead. Say eBay allows this envelope where you can put the postcard in. You would have to buy top loaders, though. You can't just ship a postcard in an envelope. It'll get bent and damaged, correct?
That would be correct.
Right, so you have to invest that money, which
Yeah,
At this point, it could be
there's
50 cents, whatever it is,
yeah, there's more investment involved in the various things, of course.
Yeah.
But I guess the point is, you and I regularly talk about deals that we've come across. So to anybody out there, just keep your eyes and ears open. There are deals out there. There are people handing away things free. There are more people have more things that they don't want than you can even imagine. I know Auction Professor has done videos where he's alluded to making phone calls to people that used to own businesses to find out, or to buildings that used to house businesses.
Yeah.
And he ends up, in the basement of some place finding new old stock. I know we recently got a call on a place that had some new old stock in it as well.
Yeah.
And there were some deals to be had. We did okay there, to say the least. But there were other deals that if you wanted to put the time into with cards and all that sort of thing, it's just keeping your eyes open, keeping, you need a little bit of seed money, generally speaking. And $40,000 is not a little bit by any means whatsoever. I'm not trying to say that it is, but I'm trying to say that if I wanted to sit there and get a second mortgage on my house, let's say, and come up with $40,000,
Yeah.
I can't lose money. Realistically, I can't lose money
Right.
as long as you list the stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that about deals or about how easy it is, or I guess the bottom line is if you don't need, in general, you don't need a lot of capital.
Right.
You need a little, you need time,
Yeah.
and you need some room, and you need a work ethic. And if you have those three things, you can make a living. And as time goes on, sure, maybe at the beginning, I don't want to use this word because it has negative connotations, but maybe at the beginning you're a bottom feeder. I was a bottom feeder when we started.
Yeah.
I definitely was. I went to the auctions, and the dealers that knew what they were doing bid on books all the time,
Right.
and they bid on the good books. And I did two things. Number one, I paid attention to what they were bidding on, and I became friends with them. And I asked them, "Oh boy, that was you went kind of high on that. Why?" "Oh, because it's got hand-colored maps. Oh, because it's got. Oh, because it's got.
Yeah.
Oh." And guess what happened at some point? I was at an auction or a sale that they weren't at. And I said, "Hey, that guy paid $70.
Yeah.
This is $5. Looks real similar to what he had. I can buy this here." So just asking questions and paying attention,
Oh, yeah.
I was able to do that. And part two was, maybe you're there as a book dealer and you only deal in old atlases. And maybe somebody else is there and they only deal in, whatever, sports books. And there's a lot of fiction books there. Nobody wants it.
Right.
So I end up buying the whole box for $2, and I go through and I suddenly find out that this author is good, or that
Right.
this is good, or this is good. So just have a work ethic and always be willing to take some chances, because if I'm buying a box of books for $2 and it's got 25 books in it, what kind of chance am I really taking? None.
Yeah, exactly.
None. I'm
Yeah.
not taking any. Some book in there is worth $2 no matter what.
Sure.
Even if I lot them all out, I can get more than $2 for them if they're all similar topic.
Right.
I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that. That deal is just intriguing.
Other than I think the postcard owner is still counting them. So I don't know how long it takes to count 1 million
I
postcards.
mentioned to my wife, and that was her question. She goes, "Are they sure there's 1 million?"
Yeah.
I said, "I'm pretty sure that if I contacted them back a year from now and said, there are only 999,433. You owe me 560." Like how I did that math in my
yeah,
head there.
that's pretty good.
You owe me 567 more postcards.
I would say you got to have 100,000 swing, either 900,000, 1.1, somewhere.
That's what I said to her. I said, there's over 900,000, and then there could be more. I counted them, and there was 1,000,002 postcards. Should I send those two back to you?
Yeah.
Any other words of advice to anybody?
Well, I have a haul coming up Tuesday with a gentleman I've been buying from for about 6 months. He originally sold me autographed baseballs. His father passed away. And it was all really good stuff. Mantle, DiMaggio, Ted Williams, and, he collected anyone you can think of, Hall of Famers, back in the day. And they were all legitimate, no certificates, because he got them done in the 80s. And then he moved on to comics.
And on that, speaking about no certificates, a lot of those people came to shows around here.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see those around here. And one of the things that made you more willing to purchase them is, I believe you knew who his father was.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
yep. And you knew his father went to these shows.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you'd gone to the same shows. So
Sure.
you got these things autographed. You knew that this guy was here. You knew that this guy
Right.
was here. And it wasn't like he's trying
Right.
to sell off Satchel Paige autographs
Yeah,
or something like that. That never came to
Right.
Rochester.
And we've always given our own certificates, whether it's the retail store, brick and mortar, or on eBay. And, on eBay, our certificate's worth nothing. It's a piece of paper. But I still guarantee it for life. So if there's ever an issue, which there have been a handful over the years, so say we sold 5,000 autographs, maybe 2 or 3 came back as, cannot authenticate.
Cannot be authenticated.
So it doesn't mean they are or aren't.
Which I don't mean to go off topic here. One of those that I remember that came back, you got signed in person.
Was it Mickey Mantle?
It was Mickey Mantle. Yep.
Excuse me.
You got it signed in
Yeah,
person
yeah.
in front of you. So
And-
you
yeah.
absolutely knew it was real.
Yeah. And again, they don't say it's not real. They just say they're not going to put their name or stamp on it.
Which is crazy because, again, you had it in front of you.
And I end up selling it on eBay, and I think that person got it re-authenticated. Fine. So this gentleman came in again. He said, my father collected lots of comics. So looked at the comics, X-Men run. I think we talked about that in the past. Almost a complete X-Men run. Iron Man run. Submariner. I mean, Silver Age comics, great condition. I spent tens of thousands of dollars with them. And he said, after the holidays, I'm going to get back to you. I still got some Spider-Man comics and so forth. But my dad had a storage unit full of sports cards. And at the time back, in Thanksgiving-ish, okay, that's good. But since then, the market's insane. So, I mean, you can't have a storage room full of sports cards and it'll be all junk.
There's going to be something good in there.
Yeah,
Because
so just
even things that
waiting for-
were junk when he put it away
Yeah.
aren't necessarily junk.
Yeah, so I think, the holiday season went. His wife was sick, and now she's, healthy again, which is great. And he contacted me, and he said, I want to sell you the rest of my comics, which includes the Spider-Man run, along with taking you to the storage unit and looking at them. I'm like, great. So he came in last week, bought the comics, almost complete from issue 100 or 80 up to current almost. So in great condition, awesome. We'll be probably selling them in lots or breaking them up. We haven't decided yet. So then we went to a storage unit, and wow, a lot of unopened stuff. You would have called it the crap era, the 80s and 90s, but now that stuff's worth a lot more than it was. And
Pro Set Europe?
no, unfortunately not that one. But he had stuff from 88, 89, earlier stuff, and I don't want to go into specifics because we haven't even dug through it all yet. But a lot of unopened stuff, a lot of single cards and sets and so forth. It was 800 square foot, 1,000. It was a big storage unit too. So I said, well, let me take some pictures. I'll do some research. I'll come up with
Let
an
me ask you,
offer.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Of course you don't. Again,
What is he paying a month for storage?
his mother's paying it, but I guess the father was a town inspector or something before he passed away, so they gave him supposedly some discount or something. I don't know.
I don't know
But
nothing.
they're paying something. I don't know. So
I don't know
either that or
nothing.
he was a fire marshal. Whatever it was, is I don't know if it's true, but he said maybe he's getting a discount. I don't know. My mother's paying it still. But again, whatever.
They gave him some
they're
kind of a
paying
professional
something.
discount. Yep.
They have 2 storage
That's
units,
funny.
and one of them it doesn't have that type of stuff in it. But they want to get out of it and
Yeah, right.
simplify their life.
Because even if they're paying $100
Right.
a month, which would be a heck of a deal, that's
Right.
still $1,200 a year,
Sure.
after year after year.
Exactly. Yeah. So and like I said, the baseballs were great, high end stuff. The comics were high end stuff. So he dealt in better stuff. So I took pictures. I said I'd research it, get back to him last weekend, which I did, and we made a deal for the sports cards. What else he had in there, which I know nothing about, but I'm thinking of getting involved in, are,
1 million postcards.
but maybe 1 million stamps, which I don't know much about, but if he's collecting, sports cards, decent stuff, decent comics, there's got to be decent stamps in there. And he told me he's having trouble selling them because there's no one in Rochester now that deals in this stuff. There was a club, you can't get a hold of them. He doesn't know what to do with them. So now the light bulb went off, and I'm like, well, let me see how this works out. Maybe I can deal in the stamps and figure out something.
Maybe
Because
I can trade you 500,000 postcards
Maybe
for
so,
half a
yeah.
million stamps. We'll talk.
Maybe so. So I'm going to go in there and take some pictures and maybe make him an offer and get in the stamps as well, because if he wants to get out of there, he's already researched it. He doesn't know where to sell them to, who to sell them to. So maybe I can make him a package deal on the whole storage unit.
Yeah, no, and I know that Primetime did a video about getting into some stamps as well. Now, obviously not to the volume that you're going to be getting into it, but
Yeah.
But if the price is right, I've said that forever. If the price is right, we'll buy anything whatsoever if we can figure out how to get rid of it. And that's what it comes down to. Let's say, and I'm really considering pursuing the postcards. Again, trying to find out a little more in the detail side of it. But let's just say that I decided I wanted to do that. Again, I've got retirement coming in 3 years.
Yeah.
That would keep me busy for 30 years.
Sure.
But let's say that I decided that I wanted to do something or other like that. You can't lose on the one hand. And I've got, gosh, thousands of postcards out in the garage that aren't listed now either.
Yeah.
So it's a crash course in learning.
Yeah.
It's what it comes down to.
Well, it'll force you to list them or force you to find someone to list them. Because you got other stuff coming in all the time, too, that maybe $10, $20, $50 items, $100 items that you want to get them on and out,
He's even thinking about it, too. Let's say you're 4 cents a postcard into it. Say lots of 25 you're into for $1, and you sell it for $15 for a lot of 25.
Yeah.
You're still doing well.
That might be the way to go.
Depending upon how they're organized and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
So who knows? Maybe I'll be changing my name to Postcard Goy sometime soon.
And, Mr. Stamps over here.
There you go. So we'll see you next video. It's Postcard Goy and Mr. Stamps. So it's just kind of interesting, and I wanted to kind of do this video just to tell you there's a lot of opportunities out there, just a lot of opportunities out there, and yes, these are opportunities that you have to be in the right place at the right time, and you're not getting handed the stamps or the cards or any of that sort of thing.
Right.
You're paying for them.
Sure.
So you have to have some level of capital to really get to some level. But again, even if you don't have any capital, you can find free stuff. There are apps out there you can find free stuff and the like. There really is very little excuse-wise, if you're interested in doing this, why you can't do it. And our mutual friend has come from nothing and is doing well for himself just by putting some elbow grease in everything that he does. And you can do the same. We can do the same. Do we slack off? Sure. There are days we slack off. There are days where it's natural. You can't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you sit there, I mean, the question that when we were on Primetime Show, I asked him, do you sleep? And I could ask you the same thing, and I could ask the auction professor the same thing. It's just amazing to me how little everybody sleeps and how hard everybody works, yet everybody is successful because of that. And even if you don't want to put that kind of effort into it, you can still do well. Say your thing is sitting down and watching movies on Netflix. You can do it with a laptop in front of you. Yep. And if a movie is 2 hours and you have a laptop in front of you, and you'd list a couple of items during the opening credits, a couple of items during the end credits, and a couple of items when it gets to the boring part of the movie, you've spent 2 hours watching a movie, you've still got 6 items or 8 items or 10 items listed.
Right.
It beats not having anything listed.
Yeah.
And I was discussing with a friend of mine who's starting out, and he saw how many items that I had up on all the various venues, and he thought that I was listing 15, 20, 25 items a day. And I started laughing, and I said, no, I can't. I've got the day job. I'm tired. I can only work so much between finding things, got the family, et cetera, et cetera. I said, but one thing that I do is, especially now in the pandemic where I'm not going anywhere, is I list an item every day, minimally, one item. Some mornings I'm listing 2, 3, 4 items, and that's all I can get done before I go to my day job. But it's 3, 4, 5 items that I get listed. And if every day you do something, you will eventually get to the goal. And I can't emphasize or stress that enough. Do something. Yeah, you're tired. Yeah, you don't feel well. Yeah. We're all like that. You sit there and you've got something or other on the stove and it says, preheat the oven. Hit the thing, preheat the oven, list 2 items. Come back, the oven's preheated. You can find the time to do it and list those 2 items instead of scrolling on your phone to find out the latest news about Kim and Kanye. They got divorced, though, but I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, sorry.
You don't have time to know that kind of stuff. Yeah. How do I know all this stuff? Maybe I should correct the whip on myself.
I just listed a magazine that they got married. That's odd. It must have been an old one.
While we were doing this video.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps you some. Just don't get discouraged. There's a lot of opportunity out there for you. And if you're looking for postcards, I may be the person to come to sometime soon.
Or stamps, me as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here you are with those shameless plugs.
Exactly.
So do hit the like button. Do comment down below. We do answer all comments. Do subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.
be, I wanna be.